Hello everybody, this is Tip Top MTG here today with another Magic the Gathering Arena video. In today's video, we are going to be talking about two formats on MTG Arena, those being Brawl and Historic Brawl, and comparing the two, talking about which one is better and, giving reasons why. Brawl versus Historic Brawl is becoming more and more important as Wizards of the Coast appears to be seeing which hold more interest and whether both can survive on MTG Arena. I personally believe that it is 100% possible for both to coexist on Arena. So in this video, I'm going to be comparing the two and talking about my opinions on the matter. But first, let's look at Brawl. Brawl was first introduced as a rotating Commander Light back with the legendary filled set Dominaria. It took over a year for it to be introduced into MTG Arena, and when it finally was, it was met with massive backlash, as it was first a limited once-a-week event, and then eventually became paywalled. Finally, we got over that bump, and as Historic became more and more of its own format, people were calling for Historic Brawl. Why? Well, I know very few people who actually like Brawl as their main format. For me, it's the closest thing to Commander on MTG Arena. You know how to make it more like Commander, the most popular format in all of MTG? Add more cards and make it not rotate. So the MTG Arena team heard the cries and started doing Historic Brawl events periodically, and at this point still has not implemented a permanent Historic Brawl queue, stating that they wanted to be careful and not make the same mistakes as Brawl. However, in doing this, they are making the same mistakes. But we'll get to that later. Let's break down some of the key differences between the formats and talk about why one may be better than the other. First, let's talk about what Standard Brawl has going for it. First, it's easier to get into. Not only does it have a permanent queue, but also to build decks you only need cards from standard sets, not rotated sets and added sets like jumpstarts, anthologies, and remastered sets. Generally, this makes it easier to get into. You don't need to have a massive card library. So I feel like that it can be easier for newer players when they're first getting into the game to have a standard Brawl queue to jump into. Second, it can be more balanced. While Commander is bound by social contract rules, MTG Arena does not have them, and instead encourages playing the deck with the best win rate. By having a smaller pool of cards, it can be significantly easier to balance a format with fewer cards, and those cards that are problematic rotate out. Similarly, it means that it can get a little less stale. If in Historic Brawl there's the best deck and you keep running into it, well, that best deck may stay good forever. But with Standard Brawl, it'll eventually rotate out. Those are the 2 or 3 main things that I can think of. While they aren't irrelevant, I feel that Brawl's singleton rule means problematic cards appear less, and needing only one of them means that it's much easier to collect cards even if it is Historic and has a bigger card pool. So, let's move on to Historic and why it may be better. First, it has more cards. As I've said before, having more cards means that there is more possibilities, more fun, and just more fun. By having more cards, more ideas are possible, and deck building can become easier, as there is no correct card that you have to throw in every deck. I mean, think about it. You can build in Commander really anything. You could build some Voltron-y theme deck, or you could build some very hyper-powerful Goblin Tribal deck. But the point is, you can do whatever you want. And Standard Brawl is incredibly limited in that nature, and Historic Brawl is way more open and will become more open as more sets are released. Second, it doesn't rotate. While at the surface level this doesn't seem huge, it may be bigger than my previous point. Because Historic Brawl doesn't rotate, you can build a deck today, and assuming nothing gets banned, it'll still be playable in 5 years. That means instead of building temporary Brawl decks that you plan to ditch every fall set release, you can instead have one deck that slowly builds up power level as sets are released. It is very similar to the feeling of Commander. In Commander, you can slowly collect more and more cards and upgrade parts of the deck over a long time, adding a feeling of progression. Historic Brawl mirrors this especially wonderfully, and with the huge amount of new historic cards coming to the game, this will be exponentially bigger and, a really great thing. This is something non-Brawl Historic is better at over Standard. However, non-Brawl games are much more competitive, meaning you're going to have to switch your decks to stay relevant compared to the more casual experience of Brawl. I could totally see myself building a Historic Joda Brawl deck and just slowly adding more cards. Oh, upgrading this card that got a new version in this one set. And I can definitely see that happening, and it seems like it is inevitable. Third, it promotes more sets for MTG Arena. Okay, so this point means less to the player and more to Wizards of the Coast. But by allowing players to play Historic Brawl, it means that more players will be interested in historic sets. I am sure there are some people out there who dislike competitive play, and as such try and avoid Standard and Historic and just stick to Brawl. By having a Historic Brawl option, you are much more likely to get more people buying new non-standard sets as possible formats to play increase, and as people have another format to play. MTG Arena's player base should be big enough to support numerous play queues and still have a blast. In general, the more formats Arena has, the more players it will keep, and the more money will be made. Overall, I think both formats have their merit, and those who will prefer to play them. I personally think that Historic Brawl is the better format with more options and more fun. However, Standard Brawl can still be a blast, and I hope that one day in the future the two can live harmoniously together. However, what I think isn't super important. I want to know what you guys think in the comments down below. Which one is better? Are there any reasons that one is better than the other that I didn't talk about? I want to know all of that and more. If you enjoyed, please hit that like button. It means a lot. And hit that subscribe button to see more awesome content like this. I hope you enjoy. See you in the next one.